Now I want to run through just a couple of samples of these because what you're going to be doing on the homework is that you're going to be given some cross sections, but you have to complete them and give them names. So let's go through some practice here together. So let's say here is my first one. So the first thing I need to do is notice that I have a repeating pattern. Alright, I've got 1 on the outside and 3 in the middle. So it usually helps to draw the middle part in. That's the fold axis. Now I should recognize that I have my older on the outside and my younger in the middle. So what kind of structure is that has my older on the outside and younger in the middle? Hopefully you said syncline, because that's the right answer. So before you draw, you should put your strike and dips in, because it's going to help you. Remember, your dips are telling you what direction to draw those lines. So remember, a syncline, my beds dip towards the middle. So if my beds are dipping towards the middle, that means all they're going to do is they're going to meet up. That's all I have to do there, is draw my syncline. Now let's take a look at another one. Here I see I have the opposite. I have a repeating pattern. There's my middle. And I should notice that I have my older in the middle and my younger on the outside. So what structure has my older in the middle? Hopefully you said anticline, because that's the correct answer. So let's draw our strike and dips. Remember, anticlines, beds dip away from the middle. So I'm going to draw my beds dipping away from the middle. Hopefully you're catching on. This is going to be one of those things, the more you do it, the easier it's going to become. Alright, let's take a look at our next one. Okay, here again I should notice two things. One, it's plunging. I see those U's on the surface. Second, here's my fold axis. There's the middle. So let's identify what we have. We have our oldest in the middle and our youngest on the outside. Just like we saw last time, what structure is that? It's an anticline. Now, we're going to have to give it the direction, so let's figure that out. Well, first of all, let's go ahead and draw it, and then we'll figure out direction. So anticline, remember, my strike and dips. Remember, my anticlines dip away from the middle. So I'm going to draw these dipping away from the middle. Okay. So I've drawn my anticline, right, so that kind of helps you there. Now we need to give a direction of plunge. So let's trace out a U on the surface. And remember, in an anticline, I look at the closed end. And here I see my closed end is pointing down, so I know that is a south plunging anticline. Now let's take a look at the next one. Alright, here we have another plunging structure. There's my fold axis. Now I should notice here I have my younger on the outside and my older on the middle. So that tells me it is a syncline. So, strike and dips for a syncline. Remember, synclines dip towards the middle. And this is where people can really fall victim to things. Because a lot of times when you look at this, you might be tempted to draw lines going straight down. I see a lot of students do that. That's not the right thing. Remember, we have to look at the structure. We have to look at the pattern of those numbers to tell us what our beds are doing. So, I know my beds are dipping towards the middle, so they're going to connect up. Just like that. So I have my syncline. Now we got to give the direction of plunge. So let's trace out that U on the surface. I see my open end of the U is pointing up, so that makes this a north plunging syncline. Let's keep going. Let's look at a couple more. Alright, here we have those ones in 360 degrees. So I know it's either a basin or a dome. And here I have my older in the middle and my younger on the outside. So remember, that's the pattern for an anticline. And I know an anticline in 360 degrees is a dome. So let's draw our 4 cardinal directions there. Domes are like anticlines, so that means they point away from the middle. So all my beds are going to do is they are going to point away from the middle. Okay, so now I've got my dome. Let's take a look. We're almost through this. Alright, here we've got another one that's in 360 degrees. Let's see the pattern. We have older on the outside, younger in the middle. That tells me that's the syncline pattern. Syncline pattern is a basin. So 4 cardinal directions. It's all going to dip towards the middle. So we're just going to connect these up, just like a syncline. Now, you ready to take it to the next level? Alright, let's do this. You have some that look like this. I know this is scary, but this is actually going to be real simple. Let's take this apart. Hopefully you notice this looks like this. So let's ignore, just ignore this half over here. Let's just ignore it. Let's work over here on the left. So I notice I have my younger bed in the middle and my older bed on the outside. Hopefully you notice that is the pattern of a syncline. So let's draw my fold axis. There's my fold axis. So let's draw my strike and dips. This is going to be really crucial now for you to draw your strike and dips. Remember, they're going to all dip towards the middle. Okay, good. We got that. Now, we've got a syncline on the left. Do we have a syncline on the right? Here's my fold axis. Odds are, yes. We've got our syncline here. So let's draw the same thing. There's my beds are dipping towards the middle. Boom, got that. Now if you notice, we actually have a third fold axis right there. Now let's take a look. Look at what these beds are doing. This one's dipping this way. This is dipping this way. So what do we have in the middle? We have an anticline. Alright, so far we have figured out we have a syncline, anticline, syncline. Now it's also plunging. Let's draw this first. Now the important thing is to always draw your synclines first. So let's draw our syncline. So this is going to connect there. That connects there. This goes here. This goes over here. These are going to bend around. Okay, this would really kind of come down here and go up like this, right, if we had more of that cross-section. Now, the important thing here is people go, okay, well, how do you draw the anticline? Oh my gosh, how do I draw the anticline in the middle? Watch. When I drew this line over here, let's do this in a different color. When I drew this, do you see how I went away from that fold axis? By drawing this syncline and this syncline, I already drew my anticline. I don't have anything to draw. By naturally going this way, I followed that pattern. Alright, now we've got to look at plunge. So remember, we look at the U's. So let's look at the U for the syncline. Right, there's a U for the syncline, there's a U for the syncline. Remember, we look at the open end. Here I see the open end is pointing south. Okay, now let's just take a look at the anticline in the middle. Remember, we look at the closed end. Look at that. That's also pointing south. So that tells me this whole thing is a south plunging syncline, anticline, syncline. So hopefully going through some of these examples helped you see how you're going to do this for your homework. Because by drawing these, this is really, truly going to clarify what these structures are and how you identify them.